Picking up where we left off in the last video, we put together 3 combinations to see if we could turn the finish around on this Mercedes that's been setting a long time. And as you can see, plenty of oxidation to remove. And all 3 combinations did a rather nice job turning the finish around. But I really enjoyed the ACA 500 teamed up with a Lake Country hybrid wool pad to be my favorite, to get rid of that oxidation quickly and then step down to a nice finishing polish, which would be what we had used and tested in the first section, 3D1 and a foam pad. Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. This is the second video of the series, and now that we have the combination with a team of product and pad picked out, let's get to work. The rotary polisher is a wonderful tool. I love to use it. When I first started, you need to master the rotary and wet sanding, or you really didn't have a job in the late 80s. Nowadays, those 2 tools happen to be the last that are taught, if they're even taught at all. It's an absolute shame. When used properly, the rotary is exceptional for cutting and finishing. So smooth when you learn how to use it and get a little bit of experience behind the tool. I often hear stories of the tool skipping. If it skips, just slightly tilt up on a 10 to 15 degree angle and then gently lay back down again, and it will glide along nicely. Also, pressure. You don't have to put a ton of pressure on the polisher. I can use this little mini rotary, it's the M550 from MaxShine, and get around the whole car without it overheating. There's no need to apply a ton of pressure, and that goes for all polishers. Speed. You'll never hear it screaming, the 6th speed setting. I always work between the 3rd and the 4th, keeping temperatures down, and we're going to talk about temperatures in just a few short seconds. But take a look at this turnaround. Okay, let's continue on. We have a lot of work to do. The hood, the roof, and the trunk, as you can imagine, facing the sun, the surfaces facing the sun are heavily oxidized, and the sides are just slightly oxidized with more scratches than anything. I mentioned temperatures earlier. Making multiple passes in the same area is never a good idea, but with a wool pad such as this, the temperatures don't spike like they would with a microfiber or sometimes a foam pad. Okay, now that we have the oxidation removed and some of the imperfections underneath that layer of oxidation, we can switch over to 3D1 and a medium polish foam pad. That way we can clean up and really bring out that clarity. Sometimes the wool fibers on some finishes will leave just a little bit of a slight haze left to be cleared up. No big deal. I'm occasionally asked which type of vehicle I like to detail, correct, and protect the most. Supercars, sports cars, luxury cars. I would pass on all 3 of those if I could work on classic and antiques and barn finds all day and every day. I absolutely love the challenge. Vehicles and surfaces and finishes that have been sitting around for years, just collecting dust and withering over time. I just enjoy the task of bringing them back to life. Let's go ahead and put some numbers behind what we're seeing when it comes to gloss. Quite a jump. Getting there little by little, it's nice to see at least a whole panel looking nice and uniform. I couldn't help myself, went ahead and did the roof and trunk as well. Although a large portion of the hood, roof, and trunk are now finished, we still need to get tight up against trim and seals and badges and emblems. So we'll need to switch from the larger polishers to smaller mini polishers, a 3-inch, a 2-inch, and the rotary extension mini. Obviously, the shorter throw from the smaller polishers will allow us to get closer to the trim and the seals and the emblems without banging the backing plate and the pad up against them and knocking them loose. Just use a little bit of common sense as you get closer. 1-inch, 2-inch, and 3-inch pads and backing plates on a rotary polisher do well in these areas. You'll definitely go through a pile of microfibers doing these jobs, especially when you're working on single stage. And when it comes to pads, if you don't have a pile of pads next to you, clean them out after every pass. And voila. Concourse, absolutely not. Take a look at the before and after. I would consider this somewhere between fair and good now. It's going to be driven, maybe even a daily, something to enjoy and not have to worry about every little scratch and love mark that's probably going to be put right back on this through daily use. Now you're probably wondering what I would choose for protection for this type of finish. And that is a great question, and we will address that in the last video of the series. This has been Brian from Apex Detail. I appreciate you stopping by. We'll catch you in the next video.